It's one thing to tell the world you want to keep a guy around. It's another thing to reach an agreement with him and his agents on what that looks like financially. Has he earned a contract? Yes. Has he earned a $55 million a year contract at the top of the market? No. Where does he land on this range of veteran quarterbacks, from the Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes territory down to the Jimmy Garoppolo territory of mid-20s? Where does Tua fall? That's going to be the big challenge if and when they try to work out a deal with Tua. And they have him for one more year at just around $23 million. They don't have any urgency. And they could franchise tag him next year. If he just blows the doors off next year and wins MVP or something, they could always tag him if they wanted to for a year or two.
They could, but the other thing that is part of this is whether or not Tua Tagovailoa will force the issue, right? I mean, you could get the kind of manifesto statement that we got from Kyler Murray's agent where you needed a magnifying glass to read the print, right? Yes. I mean, if that happens, then what do the Miami Dolphins do in response? Because at a certain point, quarterbacks can kind of force that issue and say, well, I'm going to withhold my services unless you pay me. And that's why Kyler Murray got paid, because the agent made such a stink about it. Now, he could have done it more privately, whatever, but that's the kind of issue here where, yeah, he's under contract for next year. And yeah, the Dolphins have that, but if there is the urgency from Tagovailoa's side, then that's the thing that can change things. So I don't really know what's going to happen. I mean, to me, I don't think he's anywhere near the $55 million a year mark. Like, that's just, if he were, then he'd be able to elevate things a little bit more, and you probably wouldn't see that team lose to the Tennessee Titans at home. You know, you don't see him lose to Buffalo like they did at home in week 18. And then you go on the road and you just have absolutely no chance unless you're just throwing up yak balls to Tyreek Hill. I mean, that just, quarterbacks have to be able to elevate guys a little bit better than that if you want to be at that tier. So to me, it's like 40 to 45 million a year. I can see that, but is that going to be enough for Tagovailoa? That's what we don't know.
I'd say more like 30 to 35, but regardless,
wow.
Here's one of the realities. The team is constantly negotiating with everyone. They do it all the time. Contract. Different dynamics, different circumstances, but they have patterns, they have strategies. Tua's going to do it once. And Tua, and this is both good and bad, he's a little too deferential. Now, maybe he's grown out of that. Maybe Mike McDaniel has emboldened him to become less deferential. Every once in a while, we see flashes of salty Tua, but it doesn't happen very often. That's what makes it so awesome when it does. But it's going to be sustained salt that's necessary from Tua for him to get the contract he wants, because negotiations can be very difficult, and you have to be ready, not just for one difficult meeting or conversation, but a series of difficult conversations, and you have to be willing to kind of hunker down and do what it takes to get that contract you want. And he doesn't have, it's not a criticism, it's just an observation. He doesn't seem to have that. He's like I said, he's deferential. He's nice. He's got to set that aside and say, I'm going to go get what's mine. I deserve this. Now, that's where the agent comes into play. The agent becomes the voice on behalf of the player. The player's got to be on board with it. The player can't get, jumpy and say, just take it. The player's got to say, fight for more. So that's what makes it interesting. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.